Okay, welcome to the weekly Ein Yaakov class. Today is Thursday, Parshas Pekudei, 27th day of the month Adar. Welcome. We're going to be learning today about Hillel Hazakin, Hillel the Elder, one of the most famous rabbis who lived towards the end of the Second Temple. From him began a dynasty of many father, son, many generations, leading up to Rabbi Yehuda Anasi, Yehuda the prince, which he is the one that compiled the Mishnah. So the beginning of this dynasty is Hillel. Hillel lived 120 years. As compared to Moshe Rabbeinu in many ways, they lived the same amount of time. Moshe Rabbeinu also 40 years was quiet, 40 years was famous. Same also with Hillel. Hillel was known for his humility, as we will see in the multiple stories today. And we're going to stick with the topic of Hillel for today's class. And this is going to take us all the way to the end of today's class. And it's all stories, easy, light material. And hopefully you'll enjoy it. Tan Rabbanan, the rabbis have learned. La'olam Yehe Adam, a person should always strive to be an v'san kehillel, humble, like Hillel. V'al Yehe kapton kishamai, and you shouldn't be a kapton. Kapton is someone that's strict, someone that's very stern, very to the T, to the letter, like Shammai. Hillel and Shammai were two colleagues that lived in the same time. They both founded different schools. Hillel founded Beis Hillel, Academy of Hillel, and Shammai founded the Academy of Shammai. And hundreds upon hundreds of arguments are recorded in the Mishnayos about that transpired between these two schools of thought. And almost all arguments, the halacha follows Hillel. They were the majority, and it was this discussion, and there was this discussion already in the Mishnayos time. Who should the halacha follow? And Hillel and Shammai themselves barely ever argued. There's only very few cases where the Gemara records where Hillel and Shammai actually argue themselves. And in all their arguments, the halacha follows neither of them. So they weren't on the arguing types, but their students definitely argued a lot. Hillel generally, his school and way of thought was more of chesed, more of kindness. It's where the Rebbe explains that his source of his neshama came from the midah, the attribute of kindness. And therefore, he generally, and him and his students generally saw things in the way of, since you're dealing with kindness, so you see everything more in the light, more in the lenient approach. Shammai, however, always and almost across the board, with few exceptions, takes the more strict approach.
What's the word for that?
Chomer. In Hebrew, we say chomer, strict.
Right. So he would, look at people, doing things.
So not
being
so.
frivolous.
I don't know what that word means, but it's just not negative, not positive, negative. That's not correct to say that he was more positive, he's more negative. They're both tzaddikim, they're both righteous, they just have different inklings, different styles of learning.
He was more strict.
Shammai is more strict and Hill is more lenient, generally. Almost there are very few exceptions. Like in the Mishnayos, they record a couple of.
What's an example of Shammai being strict?
An example of Shammai being strict is, are you allowed to carry on Yom Tov? Hill says you are. Shammai says you're only allowed to carry ready food. And there's thousands of those arguments. Are you allowed to, on Yom Tov, are you allowed to select? Shabbos, you're not allowed to select one thing from another.
Oh, like with the Hanukkah candles.
So Hanukkah candles, it actually doesn't come out to be more strict or not. They have an argument whether you should go 1, 2, 3, 4 or 8, 7.
The wax.
But it ends up one doesn't mean more strict than the other. They both, at the end of the day, you're both using the same amount of candles. So that argument, is not where we see more strict. But there's many arguments we see Sham is more strict. And we're going to see in the stories later on today that in embodied in themselves, they had these two attributes of being more kind or more strict, more stern. The way the Gemara calls it, Hillel had more humility and Shama and more tolerant, which humility and tolerance actually they come hand in hand. Someone that's humble is automatically going to be more tolerant for other and more patient. The word in Hebrew for patience is savlanus, patience, right? The word in Hebrew, soivel means to be tolerant, almost the same letters. And it could be probably from the same root. When you have more patience, you're more tolerant, and when you're more humble, it goes together. Okay. So the Gemara says a person should always try to be more like Hillel. If you're natural, everyone has their own tendencies and their own ways that their nature pulls them. But if somebody is kind of in between and he wants to know what he should, he's going to a therapist and he's going to now open up all these emotions and he's going to start reforming himself and deciding what style am I going to become. So if you're able to choose, you should try to
middle path.
You should try to choose Hillel's approach of being more. In general, you are supposed to pick the middle path. That is correct. But in between these two approaches, you should pick Hillel's.
Until Mashiach comes.
Mashiach comes, you can start being strict. Not on someone else's account.
That's true.
Ma'aseh b'shnei Adam, b'shnei bnei Adam. There's a story, a very interesting story. Two people. Shehimru zeh im zeh. They made a bet, one with another.
Who can make Hillel angry?
Yes. Amru kol mi sheyelech v'yaknit es Hillel. Whoever will go and get Hillel angry, Yital arba me'os zuz will be able to get from the other one 400 coins. They made a bet. Some commentators discuss the legality. Are you allowed to make a bet? The practical halachas, you're not allowed to make bets. Type of stealing.
Is it though? Because I've seen many from Yidden do it still.
Not really. It's childish. Not real bets.
Not like a real bet, like $1 million. Like a $5 bet on a game would win.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, so whoever's going to lose the bet, the other one will have to pay him. Whoever loses the bet, 400 coins. Omar Echad Mehem, one of the guys said, okay, it's an opportunity to make money. I know how to get on people's nerves. I'm good at it. Ani nitenu, I will go and get Hillel angry.
Just the shower story?
Yes, it's a famous story. I say Hayoim that day, Erev Shabbos Haya. It was Friday. The Hillel Chayfef is Reishai. Hillel was getting ready for Shabbos, and he was washing his hair. He was taking a shower. Halach va'avra al Pesach Beisai. This fellow goes by his house. Amar, and he calls out, Mikan Hillel, Mikan Hillel. Who over here is Hillel? Now, this was extremely disrespectful because Hillel was the leader of the Jewish nation. He was the prince. He was the Nasi. Everyone knows who Hillel is. So just the mere fact of saying who is Hillel, that itself is already enough to get a frask. Yeah. How do you go around and say who's Hillel? Nisatev, Hillel got dressed. He covered himself. V'yotzal dikrasai, and he went out to greet this person. Amar Lai, he says, my son, Beni, Mata mevakish. What are you looking for? Amar Lai, he said to him, She'ela yeshli lishoel, I have a question. Amar Lai, Sha'al Beni Sha'al, he said, Hillel tells him back, my son, ask your question. And here he comes with a brilliant question. Mipnei ma Rosheim shel Bavliim segalgalis. Why are the heads of people in Babylonia more round? Or according to a different explanation, more like this. Oval. Well, everyone's face is oval. So more like stretched out oval. So this was his genius Quite brilliant question that he needed to ask Friday afternoon while Hillel was in the shower. Amar Lay tells him, Bini, my son, She'ela Gedoyla Shalto. Yeah, you're asking a very big and profound question. So Hillel right away gives the other person to feel good. It doesn't give him what type of stupid question you're asking. It makes him feel good. You have a very good question. You're asking a big question. And he gives the answer. The midwives in Babylonia are not well skilled, as skilled as other midwives in other places. And when the baby is being delivered, so the way they hold their hands and the way they're going to hold on to the baby in the beginning, that's going to shape the head. So since then, basically the midwives don't know what they're doing, so the heads come out like that.
I wonder if this is a true answer. Or he was just joking.
So there are commentators that give deep insights onto what he meant. We're not gonna get into that. Okay. So this fellow goes and he waits a while. Chazar and he comes back, Vamar, and he says, Mikanilo, same things. Starts all over. He wasn't finished the shower yet. So he had to get dressed. And came out. Amarla, he says, Bini Matam Evakish, what are you looking for? How can I help you? Amarla, he says, Shayla Yishla, I have a question. Again, my son, ask. And here comes the second question. Mipnema, what's the reason? Einehen shall Tarmudian Terutais. The people from Tarmuda, someplace, why are their eyes Terutais? So some
Asia.
commentaries say,
Asia.
why are their eyes round? Or some people say the opposite, why are their eyes very flat? The Asians.
Everyone's eyes are round. No?
Rashi says weak, yeah, but in different shape round. Everyone's eyes are like this. No, he meant the whole eye. Their eyes are like this. So why are their eyes round?
Babylonians?
No, people from Tarmuda. He says, that's also a very good question. And the reason is they live amongst the sand. So their eyes are smaller and they're less prone to get eyes, the wind blowing this Tarmuda country is in desert, the Syrian desert. And since the eyes are smaller, so that their eyes are less affected from the sand, the wind blowing the sand. So it's better for them. Or according to the explanation that like the Asian also protects from the sand to get it to go in. Okay, so he got his answer. And the same thing repeated a third time. And he says, who's Hillel? Again, Hillel gets dressed, comes out. He says, what could I help you with? I have another question. This last question he asks is, why do the African people have wider feet? Why are there flat feet? He's trying to be a nudnik, right?
He's
trying to be a nudnik. He's trying to get on his nerves, trying to test his temper. But Hillel had the patience. And he says, he asking again a good question. They have swamps. And the areas in Africa have swamps. And having flatter feet help them with the balance, so it shouldn't sink in the swamps. Or the other explanation is, since they have swampy areas, so they don't wear shoes because the shoes would get ruined from the swamp. So they walk barefoot, and it's a natural thing if you're walking barefoot, often for the feet to become more flat. Okay, so now we got his answer.
Birds?
What?
So it's not from
No,
birds?
that's what I guess according to that explanation.
So their feet are flat to help with the swamps?
Yeah. Either I saw two different explanations. Either to help them not to sink, like it gives them better gripping, or it's a natural thing from walking barefoot. And they're walking barefoot because they're in a swampy place. Amalei, he sees that he's not getting anywhere. He says, I have a lot of other questions, but I'm scared you're going to get angry at me. So Hillel said, no, come, don't worry. I have a little time for you. Come, let's sit down.
I wish there was a person
Was
like
he
this
born
one.
this way or he became this way?
Hillel?
Like patience, yeah, all this.
I don't know. It's a very good question.
You know? It doesn't say?
Doesn't say if he was born that way or not.
Well, that is
I wish I had
amazing.
a Rebbe who had this much patience.
Exactly.
That's right. It comes as we see. It comes from humility. There's a different story, not over here. A different story brought down in Gemara, that one time, there was a rich person that lost all his money. He became poor. Now, rich people are accustomed to have life of luxury, and it says you're supposed to try to give tzedakah, not just that the rich person should have what he needs, but really to what he's used to. And the example brought down is if a rich person is used to having somebody clear the way before they travel. It used to be this custom that rich people used to pay a slave or some guy, and he would call out, "Come, someone's coming, clear the way, clear the way," and then the wagon would go. It was I don't think it exists anymore because we don't have slavery anymore. But this was something that was common for thousands of years.
It's not slavery now. They're just paying normal people. They're just not calling it slavery anymore.
I don't know. Check down.
I know, but you have most people that don't like to do degrading this type of
Presidents
job.
still do these types of things.
Presidents,
leaders of countries.
they have an escort.
Yeah, exactly.
You have an escort, and you have police going in front. You have that. It's the same idea, I guess. Police escort. What's it called? Motorcade. Motorcade, right?
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Right. Charlie, what's a motorcade?
What?
Am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah.
What is
Motorcade. Motorcade. What does that mean by
What's
definition?
Motorcade, you know, like
Oh, motorcade, motorcade.
What does it mean?
See, it's when the president goes, he has the whole motorcade.
What does the word motorcade mean? Escort?
Yeah, something like that. I'll look it up exactly. I don't know.
mechanical escort.
Escort. Okay, so it used to be the rich people used to have this people running in front of them as their motorcade or walkcade.
Yeah, they have somebody announce them.
Carrot
Right.
cake.
Yeah, that's it.
Carriage
It's called,
Carriagecade,
they have that in Shakespeare even. I forget what it's called when they have people like that.
running ahead. Right. So, anyways,
So we have
so there was this rich guy. There was this rich guy that lost his money, and Hillel wanted that the tzedakah that he should get should be to have this motorcade going in front of him, and he used to actually pay people to do that. He had a guy that he hired him, and he would run in front of this guy.
How much was he paying?
I don't know. But that question is like belongs in our story. How much did he pay? We're speaking about nudnik questions. So one day Hillel couldn't. That guy that Hillel hired wasn't available, and Hillel
To do what again?
to run in front of a rich person that became poor, a forerunner, and Hillel himself did it. He was the prince, and he himself did it because he couldn't find anyone else to do it. So we see his tremendous humility that he had.
So he became the forerunner.
Yeah, for that day.
He let us at him.
Okay, so now back to the story. So this guy just trying to irritate him is really angry. So he tells him, I have a lot of more questions, but I'm scared.
More questions?
What?
A lot more what?
More questions. Wait 1 second. Yaakov, could you go to the basement? I think that guy is blocking. He took his own spot.
Are you sure?
Well, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Where's your motorcade?
Whatever. It's just
Sorry, Rabbi.
what?
There it is. There's your motorcade.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me look it up.
Hey Yaakov, how are you? Good to
Good.
see you.
Baruch Hashem.
Good to see you.
Likewise. Thank you.
Okay, anyways, so back to the story. So this guy is trying to irritate Hillel. So he asked him all these questions. He asked him, Charlie, I'm catching you up.
Yeah.
He asked him, why are some people their heads are round, and Babylonian people in Babylonia their heads are round? And why are the people from Talmud their eyes are round? And why are people from Africa their feet flat? He asked all these very important questions Friday afternoon while Hillel was getting ready for Shabbos.
Why retards at hollow?
And
Why was it?
motorcade.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
So he tells him, I'm scared you're gonna get angry. So he says, no. I have all the time. Ask all the questions you have to ask. Ask. He says, are you Hillel? That people call you the Prince of Israel? This is again disrespectful. Like you ask the guy, are you Hillel?
Nasi, they call him?
Nasi, yeah. Amarleh, he said, yes, I am Hillel. Amarleh, he said to him, if that is you, I wish that there shouldn't be many like you amongst the Jewish people.
I do.
And we have Yaakov over here just wished that his teacher was like that.
First of all, I wouldn't have to call him rabbi. Second of all, I could just ask him as much questions as I want.
So he says, "Why, my son? Why are you saying that? Why? What did I do? Why would you wish there were people like me?" So he said, "Because she badati ayadcha bar me'azuz. I'm losing now 400 coins from because of you.
How?
Because this guy made a bet with his friend that he said I'm gonna get Hillel angry. So he came to annoy him,
Yeah.
and he lost the bet. So he was angry. So he was angry. He tells Hillel, "Now I'm angry that I lost the bet." So Amarloi Hillel tells him, "Havizar b'ruchacha." It's very important to be careful with your ruach, with your spirit, and with your feelings. Kedayu Hillel should ta'abed al yadei arba me'azuz ve'arba me'azuz.
Obama.
I'd be worth it, and I'd rather that you should lose 400 coins and 400 coins. The commentaries say, why do you say 400 and 400? Because this guy actually lost 800 coins.
So to make it at least
Why?
seem, less
Because
harsh,
he had to pay the other guy 400, and he also lost from getting 400.
Mhm.
So he actually lost 400 and 400. 400 that he had to pay and 400 that he didn't get.
double.
V'hillel yakbed that you shouldn't get angry. You know, it's interesting. When I was preparing for this class, so my son came to ask me questions. And he said, on Timu, do they have this type of thing? And I was like, I'm trying to learn. And then he comes back a minute later. But do they have this type of thing? Do they have that type of thing?
He couldn't take no for an answer.
And then I said, you know what I'm learning now? I'm learning the story of Hillel. And the guy kept on asking.
Sorry.
I'm showing you Ashkacha Prati.
Yeah, it was
We
very-
should all be this
It was
patient.
very funny.
Honestly.
Okay. So now that we established Hillel's patience and his
400 and 400. It's better to be careful with your emotions.
basically saying it's good that you lost the money, that we have this lesson, not to get angry.
Lessons are worth more than money.
We're in Shabbat.
This.
Shabbos. Okay, turn Rabbanon. Now that we've mentioned stories about Hillel, so now we're going to show the contrast between Hillel and Shammai, which we mentioned in the beginning of the class. They each one, Hillel was more the attribute of Chesed, Shammai was more in the attribute of Gevura. So we're going to see now these three following stories where we see this spelled out clearly.
Isn't Hillel more Sephardic and Shammai more Ashkenaz? Or no?
No,
What does that even mean?
no, you're mixing up maybe
Way later.
Rambam.
Where they're,
No, way later. Way later.
This is before the Jews went to Ashkenaz or went to Sfard.
Oh.
This is in the time of the Second Temple.
This is way earlier.
Torah Rabbanan, the sages have taught us. Maisa, a story ben Nachri Echad, with one Gentile, a goy, Shabalifnei Shammai. He came to Shammai, and he said, "Amar loi kama Torahs eish lachem." How many different Torahs do you have? Torahs. Amar loi, he said, "Shtaim." Two. We have the written law, and we have the oral law. Amar loi, he says, "Shebichsav ani ma'mincha, shebal peh ini ma'mincha."
The whole thing.
I believe in the Torah Shebiksav, the written one.
Those are the
Right. This is a Gentile. Who is a Gentile to have an opinion? But so I have an opinion already.
They were Jewish. They were the Ascends, and what was the other one? That they just only went by the.
The Tzdokim. They're called the Tzdokim. The
What are they
Baisusim. It's a Doikim and the Baisusim.
They did
So
not
he
give-
says, I don't believe in the oral law. When he says, but I don't believe, it means I'm not ready to accept upon myself. Gaireni, I want you to convert me. I'm ready to become a Jew. But I'm only going to be learning the written law, and I'm only going to be keeping the written law.
No Torah Shabbat Peh.
No Torah Shabbat Peh. Garboy, Shammai screamed at him. Vaitzir ben Zifa, he chased him out. He says, "Get out of here. What are you?" And the truth is that Shammai did according to the halacha. The halacha
Yeah,
says
you're not allowed
that
to
if a
convert
convert
someone.
is going to come and say, "I'm only ready to accept certain parts of
One
Torah,"
side and not the other.
and not even if he says one mitzvah, I'm not going to take it for myself.
You have to kiss him, get him out of there.
You don't accept him.
Wow.
So Shammai actually did according to the halacha, and he's chased him away.
He punched him too. No, he didn't.
It says ben Zifa. He says
Drove him away.
drove him away. Okay, brother from Hillel, he came to Hillel. He heard Hillel has more patience, more tolerant, And Gaire, Hillel said, okay, I'm ready. Now the question the commentators ask, how was he allowed to? If the halacha says he's not allowed to, how was Hillel even allowed to? So the answer given is that Hillel recognized that this guy was hacking a chainik.
He was what?
He was hacking a chainik. You know what that means? He was
He wasn't serious.
Tell me the story.
he wasn't being serious.
Right.
It's not like he studied the written law
He wasn't
and
sincere.
studied the oral law, and he decided that he doesn't agree with this and only with this. He didn't know anything.
He wasn't sincere.
He's ignoramus. Ignoramus. He doesn't know. Ignoramus. I'm ignoramus. I don't even know how to say ignoramus. So he was an ignoramus. He didn't know what even written law or law. He doesn't know what anything about it. So you can't have an opinion about something you don't know about. You know, speaking about a guy that has an opinion reminds me of a
Welcome
joke.
to current day, Rabbi. Everybody has an opinion on a million things they don't know about.
There was this guy. I think I said this joke once before. There was this guy. There was this two yeshiva students, very good friends for many years in yeshiva. And one day, one friend tells the other, I get a mazel tov. Oh, what's the mazel tov? Chassan? No. I finished my conversion. I just became now Jewish. So he says, what? You were a guy till now? This whole time you were a guy?
And he was learning Torah?
Yeah, they were together as friends. They learned Torah. They
Chavrusos.
chavrusos for yeshiva for years. He's like, I can't believe it.
How could it be? You're not Jewish.
How could it be? He said, yeah, I was learning, but I just became a Jew.
I made up my mind.
So he's like, I understand. We kept Shabbos. We know we learned together in Gemara. You know, a Jew is not allowed to keep Shabbos. A guy is not allowed to keep Shabbos. You kept Shabbos thousands of times. He said, no. Every single week, I made sure always to carry in my pocket on my keys. So I always desecrated the Shabbos.
Because he was carrying?
Yeah. So that's why I made sure to always desecrate the Shabbos, because a guy is not allowed to keep Shabbos.
Really?
So his friend tells him, I understand there's the Erev over here. So you didn't desecrate the Shabbos. So he says, no, I don't hold up the Erev.
Oh my.
So he's a guy that has an opinion that he doesn't hold up the Erev.
Must have been Flatbush.
So he has a guy that he has an opinion. Comes and he says, I don't hold up Teresh Shabbat Peh. Anyways, he comes to Hill accepted him.
Yeah, they had the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the Essenes.
Right.
One of them only went by Torah Shabbat.
So the Stoikim is the Sadducees. That's how you say it.
Oh, the Sadducees?
Yeah.
With
Okay, so Hillel, what was Hillel's method of bringing this guy close? First, he accepted him. He told him, okay, fine, I'll convert you. Come, we're going to start lessons. And
He did the hardest part right away.
and then he sits down with him and he starts teaching him. And he points to Aleph. He says, this is Aleph. This is a base. Gimel, Dalet. Okay, you got it? Good. Okay, come back tomorrow for next lesson. Comes back the next day. And he points to a Tuf. And he says, okay, this is an Aleph. And then he points to a Shin. This is a base. And the guy's like, wait, 1 minute.
backwards.
That's not what you told me yesterday. You're mixing it up. So Hillel said to him, very important, told him, Lav alav the dikasamachta. How do you know that this was an Aleph, this was a page, this was a Gimel? Because you're relying on me. Trust me about the oral law also. He's giving him a deep message over here. You cannot learn Torah Shebiksav
We did a whole day to do the lesson.
without, we spoke about it, Shalom Bar's class, we had the whole topic about it. Without Torah Shabbal Peh, the oral law goes hand in hand. Even the Aleph base, how those people that say that they don't believe the oral law, how do they even know what they're reading? What word are they saying? How do they know this is an Aleph? How do they know this is a base? How do they know?
They're literate, Kaviyachol. They're literate.
Like we said, there was a guy that he put on tefillin. It's actually today's Rambam speaks that if you're not allowed to put tefillin on your hand over here and over here. And one guy, there's a joke about a guy that put his tefillin over here, and he came
It should
to
be much higher, no?
yeah, he's supposed to be over here. Even the Torah says you have to put it beinei between your eyes. So he thought he's going to be a smart aleck. He put it over here, and he tells the rabbis, "See, I go according to what it says in the written law, beinei." And the rabbi tells him back, "Fool, why is your tefillin black? Why is your tefillin looking the shape of a box? Why it's not a ball? Who said it's supposed to be a black? Who said it's supposed to be a box? Who said it's supposed to have that shin over there? Who gave you all those details? The Torah doesn't say any of those details. How do you know any details from the oral law? Okay, so the Orla also explains that Bein Enecha means over here.
So he's following
And
the whole law.
what he's saying over here is the same idea. How do you know this is when you want to read something from the written law? How do you even know how to read it? How do you know what the aleph beis are? Because you were taught. You were taught also with Torah Shabbat Peh. And this way he brought this guy to understand this person close to Yiddishkeit, and he became a regular Yid. Okay, next story. Shuv Ma'aseh b'nochi echad. Happened a story with another different guy. He came before Shammai, and he says, "Gaireni Menashe telamdeni kol haTorah kula kashno imed al regel achas." Teach me the whole Torah while I'm standing on one foot.
Took his
Who
cane.
was he asking about?
Shammai. First he went to
took a
Shammai.
cane and he broke his leg.
The chafei ba'amas habin shabiyadai. He had a ruler that he used to measure in the building, and he chased him away. Shammai chased him away. Came to Hillel, and he said the same thing, and he converted him. And while he was converting him, yeah, he said to him, "You want to know what's the whole Torah on one foot?
He
Okay,
wasn't a Jew?
the Allah." He was a guy.
I thought it was a Yid who came up to him and said, "Teach
No,
me
no.
their own."
The Allah, no, a guy wanted to convert. The Allah sani lechaver chalei tavit. What is hateful unto you, don't do to someone else. Zu he call Torah. Cool. This is the whole Torah, and everything else is the explanation on the Torah. Go zil gemar. Go learn everything else. It's just some commentaries on this. There's a lot of commentaries on this. This is a very deep concept. We're running out of time. I wanted to finish the third story. So just to say in brief, the Maharsha explains that what was Shammai's message with the ruler. Shammai was a builder, and he had a ruler of a building of his hands, and he was giving him a message.
Like Chaim Mizrahi always
He
has
says,
the
yeah,
tape
tape
measure.
So he says he was teaching him a lesson. Shammai was teaching him a message. You want to have one foundation of the Torah. Torah is not one thing, one sentence,
Unifaceted.
one thing. It's you need to have a full foundation of a building. Just like in a building, you can't put a building on one beam. You have to have a full. You have to have you have to have everything. Torah has to have a big, huge foundation. You can't just come and say, "Give me one thing." But Hillel said we could find one foundation for that's going to be universal. But now the question is, what was now the question's on Hillel? What did Hillel really mean? To say that obviously Israel is the foundation of the whole Torah is very nice between all the laws that are ben adam lechaver, between a man and his fellow Jew. But lots of the Torah is about between man and Hashem. So where do you see that in Hillel's statement? So of course we have the Alter Rebbe's explanation. Obviously, Israel. If you love Hashem, you love who Hashem loves, and so the loves are all intertwined, all connected, intertwined.
So the Alter Rebbe said, which
The Alter Rebbe explains it, but
it's in the what was it we used to come to learn from Alter Rebbe? What was that?
There's many things.
Tanya.
Yeah.
So
He says it there.
I'm not sure. It's not Yom I know, but the way the Rashi answers is that he said the word liriacha to your friend. The word liriacha also means partner. Hashem is also called riacha. So what is hateful to your friend includes also Hashem.
Oh, that makes sense.
So whatever is hateful to your friend, your physical friend, or Hashem, don't do. So that includes also the mitzvahs. Okay.
Wait, but Hillel just instantly converted the guy? The process nowadays usually takes 1 to 2 years.
No, it probably include the whole process.
And then he waited 2
That's
years, and that guy both of them totally remembered the whole story. He was like teaching.
Wait. We'll get to that soon. Okay, another story.
What, Yasha's asking if it was enough to make.
No, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. All of them had to learn. Shuv Ma'aseh b'goy. Another story. Third story happened to the third guy.
And
Also,
he also
Jew.
came to Shammai first.
And his story a little different. This one, he was walking by a school, and he heard the teacher teaching his students, and he was learning actually this week's parsha about the clothing of the high priest. Beautiful clothing, ephod, the apron, and the diamonds here.
Which parasha is it?
We had it in Tetzaveh,
Pekudei.
and now we have it today in Pekudei again. We had it a few weeks ago.
And it's not in Tidima
A
also?
few weeks ago, we had the instruction how to create them, and today we have the Torah
to
portion
anoint them.
that they actually did it.
How they anointed.
Amar, so he heard the teacher. He mixed in. He spoke his head from the window. He's like, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" Yeah. Amar, he said, "Halal me. Who are these beautiful clothing for?" Amar, he said, "Oh, the Kohen Gadol for the high priest." Amar, he said, "Guy." The guy said to him, "Oh, I want to go and convert that But in order that I should become the Kohen Gadol, I want to get these clothing. I would love to walk around with these
You want
fancy
to become a
clothing.
Kohen Gadol, he said.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So he came to Shammai. He said, "I want you to convert me on condition that you'll make me the high priest." So Shammai also didn't have patience for him. He chased him out, and he chased him out with the ruler. He came to Hillel, and Hillel converted him. Amarle, he said, "Okay, now that you're a Jew, you want to be the high priest? Klum amid melech elam yishidiyat tachsil malach. You want to be a king? If you want to be a king, you got to learn how to be a king. You got to learn about running a kingdom. Lech lemay tachsil malach. You got to learn everything about it. If you want to be a high priest, you got to learn the laws about being a high priest." Okay, so he showed him where to learn, and this ger now starts learning the laws of a priest. Halach v'kara, he starts learning, and he came to the verse in Bamidbar, and it says, "Vazar hakar of Yumas." If someone is a zar means someone foreign, means someone not a kohen, and not a kohen, either a Levi or a Yisrael.
Zor?
A zar means somebody that's like a foreigner.
Zion Vav Rish?
Zayin Resh.
Oh, just Zion Rish.
Yeah, it's a foreigner. It says if someone that's not meant to do the work in the temple comes, he's liable to be killed. So he asked Hillel, "Mikra zel mi nemar, who's a foreigner?" Because he says he wants to come to serve, and he says who's a foreigner?
He knows I have Mitah rule, this guy?
He just learned it now.
Okay.
So now he wants to know who's considered a foreigner. Amarlei, Hillel tells him, anyone that's not a priest, not born a priest, Afilu David Melech Yisrael, even David, King David,
He wasn't a Kohen.
he wasn't a Kohen. Even King David cannot do the service in the temple
What
if even
tribe
he
was
wants
David
to.
from?
What?
What tribe was David from? David Melech?
Yehuda.
Yehuda, right.
So now this ger,
Yehuda didn't almost become Kohen? Didn't they have some kind of?
No.
It was always Levi?
Yeah.
No shekels.
so this ger, this convert, made a kal v'chomer to himself. He in his own mind, he said like this: if Jewish people, which are considered God's children, and Hashem loves them, and He calls them, "You're my son, my firstborn," and for them it says, if they will come to the temple, they will die. Me, I'm a convert. I come with my walking stick and my bag, and I'm just coming now to the Jewish nation. I'm just like they say in Yiddish, a Zuggekommener. I just came now. I'm a foreigner or an illegal immigrant. Alachas kama v'kama. Of course, I can't even imagine that I should be able to be allowed to be the high priest.
He doesn't have a ruler either.
So Bali Frei Shammai, this guy, he actually went to Shammai, and he tells him, am I even able to be a high priest? It says Azar Karv Yumas, someone that's foreign can't come. Like, why didn't you tell me instead of chasing me out with the ruler? You should have told me, explain it that I cannot be a
He
kohen.
doesn't qualify.
And then he came to Hillel, and he says, Hillel, the humble one, Hashem should give you blessings on your head that you brought me close to the Shechina. And here's the chaser. Beautiful ending of the story. Liyamim, many years later, these three converts made up together. They met, and each one said their story of what happened. And they came out together and they said, "Kaptanuse shel Shammai," the sternness or the strictness of Shammai, almost wanted to chase us away from the world, from becoming under the Hashem's Shechina, and the humility of Hillel brought us close to be under the Shechina. And that's a powerful lesson that we take from this class. Try to emulate, copy.
You need 10 men for
Hillel.
Shechina, no?
Well, different levels.
Females, I don't think need 10, but males need 10.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining us. Yaakov, it's good to see you. So,
What did Shammai say?